Hello, everyone, and welcome back to UGC League. We are bringing you Season 20 Opening Day here with a wonderful intermediate matchup. My name is Guthix. I'm joined here in the casting booth with LordThEthan. Ethan, it's so happy to be back.
It's so good to be back. What has it been now, Guthix? A whole 3 seasons that just you and I haven't been able to reconnect together in the booth with UGC, our incredible producer, and the awesome admin team behind UGC as well, still going strong as ever. Here we got a fantastic matchup today, Guthix. I'm super excited to be with you today and bring our audience the Pixel Peeps versus Mamoris Abyssal matchup, starting here on Busan Mecha Basin. It's pretty conventional. Rush out the gate from both sides.
Yeah, rushed out the gate with a mirror matchup of Reinhardt shielding off, bringing out that maze, starting off a nice wall, but Baptiste able to kind of hop up there. Immortality Fields go out, and it's just a brawl fest right on point as Solar Pancake just trying to take some space. Instead gets pinned, but there goes Ryan for quiet on the side of Mamoris Abyssal, and that's a point going to be captured for them and for Pixel Peep.
I really like that it's just Hiccup there on the objective. The rest of Pixel Peeps are holding up here strong on the high ground, and they played that battle sustain really well. But with Lucios in both these comps, another team fight is already breaking out.
It's a quick team fight, just back to back to back. There's the Shatter gonna be down. It's gonna be dropping down, but Lucio does get hit in front of the Ryan shield, and that's gonna be enough just to win that team fight. One ultimate, and you love it if you could just use one, especially if it's the Shatter, Ethan, to win a fight.
Oh yeah, and you know, you did have the pretty meaningful cooldown of the Immortality Field from 80 drop there as well, but at the cost of a one team fight, that is a low price to pay. To have Shattered Baby Doll there is incredibly meaningful. It means that if they're shattered on speed or heal, there's no access to amp and they can't walk away from it. There's the amp matrix, quite able to walk away with a pick off that one.
Right, gets the Baptiste too, so no amplification matrix there. Gunforce out the Dragons as well, just to kind of separate the team. Here comes the Shatter, it's big, it hits the Reinhardt down, and with no 80 Baptiste there, no Immortality Field, keep them healthy. A little bit over 50%, might be seeing a little bit of stall. Nope, with the kill from Jay starting to just Rob, it's going to be a clean flipped and 62% built up.
That fight couldn't have gone, honestly, better for Mamoris Abyssal. It cost the Amplification Matrix and the Shatter, but they were able to reserve the DPS ultimates, or, rather continue building the Deadeye that J-Star is coming up on. And as well, they don't end up having to use the beat. I like the pinned in, fast re-engage from both the Rhines, ready to brawl it out.
There's a dangerous wall. It's going to be forcing a Blizzard. They're coming all year on this Rhine. They're going to find 1, 2, count 3 going up. Just Rob just kind of sat there, Ethan, stayed alive, didn't use the Blizzard, and now you have the beat on the opposite side.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Beat on both sides at the moment, which is very interesting considering that Just Rob does have the Blizzard. So Baby Doll is one of the primary targets to focus, possibly to get out with a Fire Strike Amp Matrix combo with 80 and Solar Pancake.
Be forced to the wall. Here's the High Noon. Ryan Shield protecting, zoning, waiting, gets the Immortality Field, but that's it. And trying to push out. Baby Doll drops the beat, but gets caught in the freeze. Freezing, chilling to death as he goes back to the spawn. And it's a clean push coming out from Pixel Peeps. They're going to be retaking this point after just a few more staggered kills. There's one, there's the last, and just over 70%. Pixel Peeps trying to hold this one out.
And that one was perhaps the most expensive fight of this entire series so far, which means we're coming into a pretty neutral early stage of this next fight, though Quiet and Pixel are very close to building up their ultimates, which are going to be really helpful for taking this objective. They're already on it.
Oh, the Great Maywall just cuts off Ares there. Has to use the shield there, down. Right. Shatter block, but nice Therapy for Dad up top gets the headshot onto the May. 88%. You're going to have to take this 4v5 team fight. Therapy Dog has the Dragon Strike as well. Waiting to zone him off. Going to be pushing right through Quiet, and he's trapped in the corner. Quiet falls. J-Star trying to turn the tide with no Ryan, but it's just the DPS and the lone Lucio. That's not gonna be enough. Stalling out. Aries able to get 1 kill actually. Gonna be dropping a blizzard. No, doesn't get out. And Quiet trying to get back, pinned off the map. There he goes, bye-bye, and it's gonna be Pixel Peeps taking it in a close one though, Ethan, in the first match.
Yeah, a little bit too close for the liking of Pixel Peeps, who do walk away with a round win, but also, you know, pretty good first impression of the rush composition from Mamoris Abyssal. This is an identity that it's always pretty cool to see teams so comfortable on, since a lot of our teams at University at Buffalo, where I'm still at, by the way, you know, we kind of shy away a little bit from those rush based compositions, and it seems that rush isn't the name of the game here on Downtown, and honestly, these teams would be right for playing these more highly mobile, more dive-oriented compositions. Things looking very similar, aside from the differences in the Ashe Genji matchup, as well as the D.Va and Winston. So you've got a lot of counterplay here on both sides that I'm really excited to see. Really, the fast-paced dive comp is a lot of fun to watch.
Busan's just a great map because Mecha Base, you play the rush, and then you come downtown, and it's you can't make the rush work. You can't be mixing it up with this more dive aggressive, more of a traditional dive with a Tracer Genji going back to Overwatch 1. Ashe gave it a little bit more range as the point unlocks. Gonna be Pixel Peeps touching it first. They actually are in control, and they're gonna start building up percent. Now gonna be taking a team fight. Quiet takes out 80 though, and now Therapy for Dad falls. So a few percent given up here, Ethan, but overall, Mamoris Abyssal is gonna be walking away with the team fight.
It all really kind of starts with that opening pick there onto 80. Pixel and Baby Doll able to play safe up until kind of the real fight begins, the real game begins, as any Mitten Squad video will say. But the game has only just begun. Both teams got a little bit of capture progress right now. Abyssal in the lead, but oh goodness, but Pixel Peeps are ready to retake here. They're going to have to fight for these positions of power, though, or at least get Quiet and Aries off of these high ground.
And winning that first team fight, you get a good position. Therapy for Dad snipes Pixel though up on the top. J-Star throws that pulse bomb, finds revenge for Pixel, but you're down one the support. Here comes the pulse bomb from Just Rob, finds nothing. But in a dangerous place is going to be Aries facing off a monkey in the backlines. Genji, that one doesn't work out for him. Instead, BB Doll finds the counter pick on to 80, the duo. And they are still up 2. Quiet almost gets the healing. Has to force the D.Va Bomb to get a fresh mech. So you get the D.Va Bomb out from Quiet because Pixel couldn't get there fast enough, Ethan.
Yeah, that's actually a huge boon here for Pixel, not to have to worry about the self-destruct while they look for another push here on this objective, where self-destruct is still actually, this is a good map for D.Va in general, a good map for self-destruct, and so they don't have to worry about that. The question is how we're going to use this Kitsune Rush, as well as the Ant Matrix and the Primal, or if we use all of the ults all at once.
They're going to be going for the Nano Blade, going to be dash 1, dash 2, finds another, and before I can even finish a sentence, Ethan. That's the team kill, and only 10% left. I don't think they can touch.
It's quite possible that the Solar has to sacrifice the Primal Rage just to get that contest here. 80 with the Kitsune Rush to get the rest of the team on very quickly. They got the touch, Guthix.
Barely get the touch. Here comes the ultimate. It's gonna be High Noon, try and find some value. Just Rob able to take out Aries. J-Star has the pulse bomb, finds one, tries a pulse bomb, Quiet takes out Therapy for Death. You gotta stay on point. You're able to flip it, but you're down the numbers. All you have is the tank and the DPS. Tracer and Winston Hiccup off in the corner, just trying to keep them alive. Solar Pancake falls, can't get enough healing. Tracer from Just Rob staying on point, not enough. Hiccup walking on, but there's no one else. And this one's going to map 3 here in Busan.
Oh, and how wonderful as well, because at the dawn of Season 4, as map pools and their restrictions are finally removed from the game, whose idea was that anyways? We can celebrate that as a community by watching not one, not two, but all three maps of Busan. A map that I've missed in the map pool, as with all of the maps that were taken from me. Overwatch one day will stop removing content from their game, I'm sure. But the game's heading in a good direction so far, and so too is this series. It's a 1-to-1 matchup. Two compositions that are run extremely well on their respective maps. That is Mamoris, Abyssal, and their kind of flexible dive composition, and Pixel Peeps and their rush comp. Now it's time to see who can own this identity a little bit better. The dive identity in particular on Sanctuary, which is definitely going to play a lot different from downtown. One thing that we really want to see is just 80 and Hiccup being able to sustain a little bit longer, play a little more independently in these fights. But Aries and J-Star are going to make that challenging. Huh, maybe not this fight, though.
Well, not this fight. Nope, they able to get the headshot, high damage output from Kuriko when you get that shuriken headshot. And that honestly might just be enough. Quiet's going to be jumping in, but immediately Almec Pixel is taking a little bit of a snooze that got slept by Hiccup. But it's going to be a contested fight here. D.Va, Almec, Quiet still doing some damage for Folly Solar Pancake. J-Star rejoins the fight. Aries making some damage, making an impact. And you get the early pick, but it is Tracer, Ethan, so they can easily get back to the team fight. That's exactly what just happened.
It's honestly, I think it's a point of contention with the control point game mode right now. So different from Hybrid Escort and Push, formerly 2CP, which is, just takes so long to get back to these fights. Not on this map and not on this composition, and honestly not on any of these maps. You have the Lucio there on Mecha Base to make these fights happen really, really quickly. Fantastic stuff from J-Star and Aries. J-Star already coming up on this full pulse bomb. There's so much pressure onto the back line of Pixel Peeps, and that's what Abyssal needs to call this map a win after a rough first round, sorry.
Rough first round, yeah. It's alright. Just Drop does have the pulse bomb. We'll see if they actually use it. The D-Mech comes out. Here comes pulse bomb. Excellent kill onto Hiccups. 80 finds another one, but the Aries Genji just dashing through, finding pick after pick. Now it's a 2v2 fight. Gonna be a support fight, the Genji. Winston, though, that's a lot of hell. That's a big tank hero you have to kind of fight through. Pixel Peep does have the point, and Solar Pancake does have the primal. Look at this! Look at this stalling! One whole team fight just gone, and he's nano. Here comes the reinforcements charging in. Solar Pancake single-handedly holding down the point as that percent builds up. Quiet dropping the D.Va bomb. Out of the way, Aries, here's the Nano Blade, finds 180, looking for another, trying to 1v1 Solar Pancake, the Primal Rage puts him away. 41% now build up for Pixel Peeps, as the Marmorius just trying to find the eliminations, finally takes out Solar Pancake there, Ethan, to flip this point.
And the flip of the objective also necessitates a new identity from Pixel Peeps. They're falling back on the rush comp. They knew that it worked there on Mecha Base, partially because that map is so good for these rush brawly compositions, but also because they're good at this identity. And so they're gonna make a push here, see what they can make happen. There's a pulse bomb to mitigate. Just a nice layup there.
It is so difficult though, because look at that. Look. Aries just dashes right in, takes out 80, a key support player that really brings together this rush comp to keep the tank alive, the Healy from the Baptiste. But with them gone, one after one just gets picked up. It's so easy to find these targets, these key support players in this rush composition with the dive, Ethan.
Yeah, because all that you need to do is you don't really need to brawl into them. You just have to look for openings and sometimes create them, and that's exactly what J-Star and Aries are using their mobility and as well coordination to do. I'm really impressed by Abyssal and the fact that they're willing to and able to commit onto one target in these fights, and they have a Kitsune to make that a faster process.
Kitsune rush, but a high noon build from Therapy Dad, not go by value as he gets slept. Therapy for Dad trying to stay alive. There goes two. The beat comes out just a little bit late. A Solar Pancake has to get something done. Just Rob getting close to that Blizzard. Almost there, but here comes the Blade. Here comes the Nano. 1-2. There's the Blizzard, but no one's left to touch. And Abyssal, they're going to walk away with map 1 here on Busan.
Lose the battle, win the war is the name of the game here for Mamoris Abyssal, dropping that first round. Like I said, it's a rush first round, rough one, and you know they're just able to take it back on this composition. These you know I'm not sure if it's comfort picks or if it's just something that they strategized. It's a very functional composition, and they're playing their win conditions really well. One of which is going to be that Nano Blade, the combination between I believe it's Pixel playing the Ana there in that previous map with Ares, and you know that's why I think that the swap onto the rush composition, even just to necessitate or rather justify the Lucio, is really good, because it means that you have an answer for that win condition. You've got something to prevent your team from losing, and that's going to be pretty important here. Heading into the next map, Guthix, we're not going to see these compositions, at least I'm hoping we don't, because they're not quite as good as the poke-based composition. You probably guessed it by now. We're heading into Circuit Royale for the next map in this series, and I'd be surprised if we saw anything other than Sigma, Double Sniper, Baptiste / Ana, and Zen.
Well, we'll have to see how deep each of these teams' hero pools go, though, Ethan. I mean, we already saw Pixel Peep. They switched back onto the rush. So is that a comfort pick for a composition? Or was it, hey, it worked in the mecha base, let's try run it real quick here, try build some ultimates. That didn't work, though, because they're going to that more dive quick composition. Are we gonna be able to see that Sigma double sniper, you know, that meta pick, especially on Circuit Royale, with more poke, more distant, more sight lines? Or are we going to see these teams go into the same composition, like, you know what, it worked, and this is what we're comfortable with, let's just run it and see if we can make it happen?
I mean, you know, it's going to be one of both ways, and all I can tell you is that if it were me and my friends playing on this team, you would absolutely see the Sigma composition, because we queue into Circuit Royale, and I say I want to play Ramatra, and my team says no. Because if you don't play Sigma, you are throwing, and then I feel bad and sad inside, and I don't want to play anymore. But that's neither here nor there. Fact is that I would actually love to see a departure from the metagame. Don't get me wrong, Sigma gameplay, absolutely exhilarating. I love watching the Zen, the double sniper compositions, especially at this level where it's not the perfect pinnacle gameplay that we would expect from players like Pine, Fleta back in the day of Overwatch League. Maybe you're the next up and coming proper of the UGC League. But the fact is that snipers and DPS players, really everyone who plays at the intermediate level, they're tenacious at Guthix. They surprise us with things that I never thought I would be surprised by, that I never thought I would see. It's part of the charm of Overwatch, is the fact that there's always something new to observe, something new and interesting we can learn. And I'm interested to see what kinds of lessons both of these teams learn heading into Circuit Royale. For Abyssal, Mamoris Abyssal, they're learning on Busan was that they can rely on these comfort picks in these series, and if they can force Pixel Peeps into a difficult position with constant pressure from DPS, and they're giving themselves openings for those win conditions. For Pixel Peeps, it's perhaps to run what works, or possibly to focus a little bit on ways to alleviate that pressure onto the back line. Get a little bit peel in there. Put one of your DPS, just plant them right on top of one of your support players, and then you're looking at a little bit of protection, possibly a free pick, right? So, again, we've already learned a couple of lessons. We've already learned a little bit about how these teams want to interact with each other, and now that's going to change. Just because of the nature of the map, Circuit Royale, as poorly or well designed as it may be, might justify seeing a departure from meta, or it may very well mean that we're going to lock it in.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. It's going to be being played here, at least, Ethan, on UGC League for Season 20. Like I said, it's great to be back here. Took a little bit of a hiatus last season, but it's exciting to bring everyone here watching some excellent content and some excellent Overwatch here in the Intermediate League. Looks like both teams are set and ready to go, so once they get all underway, we'll be jumping into our match. And Ethan, I just want to touch base on something you mentioned, that maybe we won't see meta, and that can be exciting. And if we're covering like the, we're gonna see Sigma, we're gonna see Hanzo Widowmaker on Circuit Royale.
I'm ready for it, and you know it's not too surprising to me. Like I mentioned earlier, you know the players at this level are tenacious. They'll do things that are that just we never would have seen coming. At the same time, however, this is also the level where you start to identify, you know, the paths of least resistance. That is running dive on Watchpoint Gibraltar, running poke on Circuit Royale, the double sniper composition on these maps with the incredibly long sightlines. So in the pursuit of this path of least resistance, you do see the comps rolling out the poke-based Sigma compositions, and already the first corner being attained and pushed by Mamoris Abyssal.
And it looks like Mamoris Abyssal actually gonna be on the defense here. So we're gonna be switching over to the blue side. Quiet now being up on the front line, stopping this card dead in its tracks. So Pixel Pete attack it first, and Therapy for Dead wins the 1v1 duel onto J-Star. Might be able to give them a little bit more space here to try and find some picks, as Solar Pancake rejoins the fray. Therapy for Dead finds another pick on the key player of Quiet.
Yeah, that's a massive pick. Oh, and there goes Baby Doll as well, which bodes very nicely here for Pixel Peeps. Means that they're going to be able to grant themselves the next corner. Still have to watch out for these Widow sightlines. This Widow duel taking place between Therapy for Dad and J-Star right now. Neither one coming out on top, but J-Star definitely a lot more critical condition than their sniper counterpart. It's so interesting watching these wars of attrition play out. We're used to to deal into that Sigma to get him out. Now you're gonna have a lot of pressure onto Pixel Peeps as they get lifted by the Flux.
The Flux goes up, brings out the Immortality Field, and just Rob taken out from both support on the side of Abyssal. Abyssal taking this momentum, taking a lot of space as both Sigmas just a black hole in front of both of their faces. Luckily it didn't get sucked up through that. That's not how that worked. J-Star finds the headshot through 80 onto 80. The Amplification Matrix, though, is there, giving that to Therapy for Dad, but doesn't find any picks off of it. Transcendence out, trying to give some extra health. Flux, counter Transcendence, just to keep alive, with a beautiful rock coming out from Quiet to knock them out of it. Dragon Strikes now, lots of ultimates being committed. Dragon Strikes from the opposite side. Immortality Field used, and it's a standoff. Pixel finds a kill onto Therapy for Dad. 60 seconds remaining. You gotta find more picks than that. Just Rob finds a kill onto Pixel, and it's just back and forth and a long standoff. You have two supports here keeping Solar Pancake up and alive, healthy but very low, and as 80 falls, that's gonna do it. And they're gonna be able to at least get through point A and get some extra time on the clock.
Oh yeah, hardy time bank. 3 minutes here, and not quite as much time as you would like for this high ground stretch, but enough to make something happen here on the second point, especially considering that J-Star has the infrared sights and can use that to create a little bit of space and maybe even draw a little bit of ire, perhaps, from the Pixel Peep defenders. There's no other ultimates that are going to be able to come into play besides the Guthix Flux, quite maybe being able to use that to seize a little bit more of this high ground here from Solar Pancake.
80 only has the Immortality Field. Therapy for Dad wins the 1v1. Here it comes. Now it's just going to be Hanzo. Aries trying to find pick through the air. Doesn't. Quiet though finds pick on Therapy for Dad. 4v4 now. Aries takes out the tank. And it should be coasted in directly into point B. And honestly, Ethan, with the role of tank being reduced to 1 in Overwatch 2, losing it's so impactful.
Oh, yeah, it makes it very difficult to compensate for that man disadvantage. There's a handful of ultimates that you could use to create space in spite of a lack of tank presence as they're returning from spawn, but your options are still quite limited. Similarly, your options, especially here on Circuit, are limited. If you're down your Zen with the loss of Hiccup, it means that the space is no longer operable, and so you'll see, correspondingly, the rest of the Pixel Peeps either back up or collapse here in anticipation of regrouping for another fight here on third. But they're going to need a fight win because you've got 250 in the time bank as the cart rounds this last corner, and another opening pick here secured by J-Star means that this last stretch might very well be a straightforward endeavor for Mamoris Abyssal.
Well, the spawn points are pretty close, and as long as you keep Solar Pancake up, who does have the Guthix Flux, you should be able to at least stall them out to get this 5v5 team fight again. Immortality Field forced out. Here comes the Dragons, and the Transcendence again keep Solar Pancake alive. Transcendence on the opposite side, along with the Immortality Field. Therapy for Dad. Bang! Hits that shot to J-Star, and the Dragons gonna force them back. Slow it down. You got 2 minutes to go, but they want to fight this again. All you lost was J-Star running back. Aries takes out Therapy for Dad up on the high ground, but there goes BB Doll, and a beautiful rock coming out from Solar Pancake. Another one taking them out, and you lose the Baptiste, and just nothing's coming from this, Ethan.
No, and I gotta remark as well that, I think that that's like the nth time that a Flux has been canceled. Both Solar Pancake and Quiet are landing nearly every single rock on the Fluxes. It's a great, insight into just the playstyle of these Sigma players. There's 10 tanks in the game, only one player can play them, and so you want to expect flexibility from all of our tank players. But the fact is that there's a lot to learn for each of them. The fact that these Sigma players have the fact that they got to save those rocks for those Fluxes is absolutely massive for both of these teams. Equally massive, however, is Aries walking up with another final blow and opening pick here in this fight.
You can find the opening blow, you can find the opening pick, but therapy for that. Switching over to the Ash, probably a little bit more pressure on the front line of the tank, but here comes the snipers, and here comes the eliminations. With 60 seconds to go, we'll be able to coast in here and finish Circuit Royale.
A disparity of 22 seconds is not that great for both of these teams. There are many reasons to be encouraged. If you're Mamoris or Abyssal, it is that you have the larger time bank and you get to defend first. And for Pixel Peeps, it's the fact that all they need to do is have just as solid of a run here on first and second point as they did in the previous attacking round. Though again, second point, a point of contention, especially in the player base and in game. It's a difficult place to trespass against the defenders. And so really, I think that what we can see here in these next attacking rounds is just first point holds, and that's really all that you're gunning for. And if you can capture that first objective, then fantastic. But really, for both of these teams, name of the game is to compartmentalize these goals. We want to take that first corner and then deny the high ground sightlines, and then we can take this long stretch. After that, we can figure out how we want to take the next corner. But one thing at a time here. More importantly, one pick at a time. Therapy, Just Rob, J-Star, Ares, all of them absolutely killing it on this map. The same way that our Sigma players, our Xander Baps are all killing it as well. But there's so much pressure on these DPS to do pressure onto the enemy team as well as secure picks. I don't envy the position of any of the players in this lobby right now, but they're making Circuit Royale work for them. Both sides so far. Let's see who makes it work better here on this next attacking round. Pixel Peeps now down to 50 seconds to make a push happen.
Going all the way with only a minute on Circuit Royale definitely is a challenge, Ethan. Love to see how far Pixel Peeps. It's doable, but it's definitely a challenge, especially with a composition. If your Sigma dies, that's basically it. You're done. That's how far you got. So you have to keep an eye on who's getting these picks, and is it going to be on the support? As Hiccup takes out one support, that's a big pick, but J-Star strikes right back with two of their own. No Baptiste on either side, so that Harmony Orb is staying on that Sigma as 10 seconds ticking down. You gotta be able to touch right at the last second. Baptiste from 80 just trying to get back. Therapy for that gets a key elimination onto J-Star, but falling low themselves. Here comes A back of Baptiste.
Oh, that's
another
huge.
one for Therapy for Dad, popping off here on the Widowmaker and forcing them back. Abyssal just retreating, trying to regroup.
It was one of the things I was going to comment on is just that, Pixel Peeps, it seems like it's been a challenge so far for them to regain momentum in a map or a series, and this is really the first opportunity that they've managed to capitalize on. This Therapy kid is making moves here on this team. And it's going to lead to a first point capture unless Abyssal can clean up, which it looks like they're doing. Guthix, J-Star, and Ares both walking away with some pretty critical picks. Immortality Field is gone, and now Baby Doll is about to be dispatched with the Guthix Flux in action, which means the Sig 9 on the first objective and a win for the Pixel Peeps here of the first objective, making this map so very doable.
There's
Holy
a very
smokes.
long console, but everyone else is back at the spawn point for Abyssal. It was just gonna be Solar Pancake on the point, and he was able to push it in. It did force some switches out, though. 80 switching over to the Kuriko to kind of get back a little bit faster, and that's exactly what happened. But now you don't have the Baptiste, you don't have the Immortality Field for Quiet Scorpic Flux. That could be really damaging, and Hiccup not close to the Transcendence. Here's gonna be the Dragon Sight. Hiccup doesn't have the Transcendence. It's gonna be a Flood. Able to get down with a huge rock. No, what a key rock! Just knocked them out of that Gravitic Flux. Picks coming out straight up for both sides. Hiccups dangerously low and taken out. Won't have the Transcendence. Dragon Strike pushed them away. Immortality Field down, but not for BB Doll. And Just Rob just doing what he does, and that gets picks after picks taken out too. And they're coasting to point B, Ethan.
Yeah, did we say earlier that the third point push with a minute in the time bank on this last attacking round was only doable, or was very challenging? It doesn't seem like that. Pixel Peeps are owning this map right now, this attacking phase, and with Coast on to second, it's a reason for Abyssal their confidence to dwindle just a little bit, but they've got to mount up whatever they've got left in the tank for this round and get a win here. If they can secure a good team fight, then they get a chance to attack themselves. No ultimate's going to be in play besides the Kitsune Rush here deployed by 80 to make some opening space.
And the Hiccups does have the Transcendence for the defensive all therapy for dead, switching on to the legs themselves, the Soldier 76. Here comes Transcendence. Not gonna save it for Quiet. They're trying to win this right here, and with a pick onto J-Star, they might be able to do that. Looking for another one. Solar Pancake almost has the Graphic Flux online once again. Mapixel's Ray with Transcendence. You gotta be looking for the Zenyatta to try to find some value. Quiet does have the Sigma. Oh, there's gonna be the Flux and the Sigma 9! Oh, no one able to touch as Solar Pancake goes up as well. And they're not gonna finish the match. We will have a victor here, Ethan.
And as well, Quiet gets to kind of breathe a sigh of relief. They had been trying to get that Sig 9 since the second objective. Unfortunately, stunned out of that second point Flux, and so they were able to walk away, knowing that they were a big part of the stabilization, really the defensive hold here on third point, but. I mean, man, Abyssal absolutely has to play this super clean. It's awesome, Guthix. There are so many moments here, like the Sigmas reserving their rocks to counter the Flux, to get that stun. The Widows and the Hanzos navigating the right angles, securing the right picks, right? There's not a lot of shooting at the tanks as much as there is looking for points of pressure onto the supports or the enemy snipers, which is absolutely refreshing. But then there are also, these other moments. It's the Zen or the Bap walking away with the pick off an amplification matrix. It's the Zenyatta using the Transcendence just to keep the team in the fight as opposed to respond to an offensive ultimate ability, right? So there are moments that are textbook for Circuit Round, and there are moments that is just evidence of these players' ingenuity on this map. And I'm here for all of it, Guthix. Let's see how this attacking round plays out. There was a little bit more time remaining here. Oh, what a nice pick. A little bit more time remaining here for Abyssal, but that's a moot point at this point. They need distance.
Yeah, they need distance. I mean, 22 seconds, sure, maybe you get just another team fight, but you still have to go basically the whole map. And just Rob gave that pick onto J-Star. You're gonna have to regroup once again. This card's not going anywhere. Quiet gets rocked, but staying alive, staying healthy. It's Solar Pancake going dangerously low. Has to regroup, pass it back off. Giving the second corner, trying to hold this down. Therapy for Dad jumps up with the hook. Doesn't find anything. Quiet moving this cart along. J-Star trying to find new position. Try and find some space here. Try and find good angle on the supports and snipers. Therapy for Dad out by the mini health pack, by the statues. Sniping down. Sniper Alley able to take out Therapy for Dad, though, is J-Star. Give it a little bit more breathing room. Finds the second sniper, just Rob. And that should be able to give them enough space to finally get this cart moving. Probably capture point A, unless if Hiccup has anything to say about it. Nope. And Quiet able to clean it up. Therapy for Dad taking on J-Star. Not sure they'll be able to get this point before the long spawns. No. So it's going to be a little bit of a far walk back.
Yeah. Ooh, that's...
Ooh.
Tenacious. It's the only word I can use to describe, especially these intermediate sniper players. Absolutely brilliant. It's only a matter of time, really, until both of these teams make it to Premier if they continue to play the way that they have against each other today, against all the other teams, many other teams, by the way, in UGC League. Gotta stay on the objective, though. Rock off, and then the Flux! And Mamoris Abyssal forced off the point, giving Pixel Peeps the equalization of the series.
It all came down to those late picks from Therapy for Dad, finding two and forcing the long spawn points. for those players. You're not able to get back in time before the Sigma Knight all comes out and just lifts everyone off the point, forces the Sigma off the point for quiet, and well, there you have it. Series tied up 1-1. Circuit Royale in the books, Ethan.
That's right. And the next map that we'll be able to head to is going to be Blizzard World. But Guthix, I'll be totally real with you. These lobbies are not looking super sweaty, right? It's looking like a very straightforward endeavor for both these teams, but I am sweating. So we're going to send ourselves to a short break. On the other side, we'll be able to capture all the action from Blizzard World just as soon as I go get a little bit of water. Grab a snack, stick around. We're not going anywhere. Neither should you. Be right back. Welcome back from the break, everyone. Hope you guys had a little bit of time to unwind there a little bit after a very harrowing matchup there on Circuit Royale. Guthix, the fact that we got those additional attacking rounds and really spectacular ones at that kind of compensates for the disruption where we lost a little bit of the game after going offline. And really cool as well, Guthix, that I think more people have actually joined us in the chat and the viewership than we had before. So a huge shout out to everyone who's sitting in watching this awesome series with us.
Yeah, it is exciting to see a bunch of people watching. I do have the chat open and stream open on the side of me, and it's awesome to see everyone interacting as well as we're bringing you the opening day for Overwatch 2 for Season 20 of UGC League. Really, really exciting there. But, not further ado, we're getting into our third map of the evening in this best of 5, first to 3 series, tied up 1-1. And we're seeing the monkey again, the Winston on both sides, as we see this more dive composition coming out from them again.
Yeah, it's the Banana Rush comp emerging from Mamoris Abyssal. I'm very excited to see them play this composition, also textbook style. If it's anything like their Sigma comp, they're on Circuit Royale, and then on the other side for Pixel Peeps, there's a lot of stability that comes with the composition. Therapy for Dad can mark off angles that J-Star and Ares might be wanting to navigate, make things a little bit safer for AD and Hiccup on the support line, and of course Solar Pancake doing Solar Pancake things and being quite the matchup for, well, quite. Let's see this first fight unfold. It's going to be invariably quite quick with the Lucio on the side of the attackers.
Yeah, absolutely. J-Star and the Swordsman, that should be interesting as Therapy for Dad bringing out the Hanzo instead. So look to see if J-Star gets involved with these dives coming in from Quiet, as Quiet finds a little bit of aggressive Kiriko on 80, and Hiccup's gone as well, and Quiet walking in, pressing W and holding M1. Finds 4 eliminations with a jump back kill, Ethan. A clean sweep for Quiet.
Absolutely beautiful stuff there from Mamoris Abyssal, and they absolutely played that as well as they could have. Losing J-Star a little bit unlucky, but yeah, what has the DPS role ever been good for in Overwatch anyway? So, a little bit of a fumble there from Just Rob and 80. Just Rob, what we want to see from Tracer players is just for them to be able to play independently. 80 playing so close to Just Rob might end up putting Pixel Peeps at a little bit of a deficit, because what they'll do, 80 will TP back to the core and then use the Suzu, and you're down those resources. Now 80 has gone down early. Ares trading the process, but you are still lacking a support if you're the second point defenders.
Ares lacking a support, Quiet dangerously low. I think they kind of found 80 off to the right, and the call came out. Quiet kind of pushed them. Now is another 5v5 fight as Therapy for Dad switches to that Ashe, applying a little bit more pressure, a little bit more threats on the Bubbles and kind of Sojourn of J-Star, but J-Star finding the pick onto Solar Pancakes, losing that tank and so much space. They just haven't been able to win a fight here. Pixel Peeps retreating back as they're still getting picked off, and they're still pushing. Abyssal just not letting up as they use the Primal Rage as well.
Oh my goodness, right in the spawn of Pixel Peeps. Good primal from Quiet. Walks away with the second pick there as well. And the primal juggling is quite challenging, in my opinion, in Overwatch 2 from Overwatch 1. There were just a lot more targets to knock around. You felt a little bit more impactful, but man, does it feel good to not have that second tank in your face burning you down, so that if you're Quiet, you can walk away with those 2 picks. You're gonna have Pixel's Kitsune Rush coming up into this next fight. Solar Pancake might be able to disrupt it with the Primal Rage, though.
You do the Primal Rage. You have the Primal Nano as well, where you could just put it on the Winston and try and dive in. BB Doll is short of the beat. Quiet gets slept there, Hush, but now woken and ready to go, ready for some action as Ares finds a pick there. Solar Pancake takes out Pixel, though, dives in and comes back, finds Quiet in the back line. Solar Pancake soloing it up, trying to 1v5 the team, and 1v2 now. He finds 3 kills, and the supports are rushing back to the spawn.
Yeah, and that's a really nice stabilization to accomplish, because there were no ultimates expended in that fight from Pixel Peeps. So they're represented with a really good opportunity. They have to hold for 4.5 minutes, and that is daunting, but they're represented with a good opportunity to make a really successful defense here.
We do have 5 ultimates. Gonna be Hiccups being the target immediately, and immediately taking out the Ajax. Bob able to find one, and the rest of them fall so quickly, and all you do is use 2 ultimates there. That's really good when you fight through the beat.
That is a really nice fight win, and absolutely to get the beat out of Baby Doll there is absolutely huge. For the beat to have landed there would have ended up being massive for Mamoris Abyssal. It's no problem. They got plenty of time to build up another one, and they have a Kitsune Rush to operate in.
Kitsune Rush, but the Nano Boost on the opposite side of Solar Pancake ready to go with the Primal Rage. As Quiet takes a little bit of a nap. And this switch onto the Ashe is paying dividends with Therapy for Dad, able to find 2 picks right off the gate.
Yeah, well, and as well, this third objective offers some really centralized positions for AD and Hiccup to play in, which means Therapy for Dad, Just Rob, Solar Pancake, none of them will be suffering for care in these fights like they were previous on the previous point. So really fantastic mid-game adjustment that has been made here by Pixel Peeps, possibly because of just the nature of this third point, but we'll have to see it continue to pay off. There's still 3 minutes for something to happen here from Mamoris Abyssal.
And Aries just went on the long flame trying to find the pulse bomb stick on Hiccups, but Hiccup able to see where they were coming from, and Aries gets taken out in the end. Quiet able to get healed up dangerously low, has Primal Rage for the insurance, trying to find Hiccup. Dangerously low, now Gate juggled into the corner, trying to stay alive, but can't get out. But on the opposite end, Solar Pancake doing justice in the back line for Pixel Peeps. Find a 2 and Just Rob rolls right in with the other. And although Quiet able to finally find Hiccup on the Ana, there just wasn't any peel from the tank on the opposite side.
No, and honestly, if you're the Winston, you just want to jump in and get in there, wreak some havoc, do some damage, and so now the peel is going to be a little bit easier to accommodate because you got Quiet back on the Diva, which we saw them succeed very well on this composition. I anticipate Baby Doll might end up back on the Kiriko just after the sound barrier finds its deployment, but you got to withstand the Pulse Bomb, the Primal first. This Pulse Bomb out, nothing secured quite yet for Pixel.
Nothing secure, but now one elimination secured for Abyssal. Quiet taking out Therapy for Death. Here going to be the Kitsune Rush coming out from Pixel Peaks. High Noon looking to find the high level, high HP Solar Pancakes. He jumps out and able to regroup with his team. Gabe fully healed back up as BB Doll does end up using that beat. Pixel trying to build up a nano boost for maybe a nano blade, but the nano boost comes out on Solar Pancake and a nice sleep from Pixel to negate a lot of that damage, but not before Solar Pancake gets the melee kill onto Aries. Therapy for that finds the headshot onto J-Star, and now you're down 2. Quiet dangerously low and gets out of mech. Gonna be jumping off, and that's gonna be a reset, but some key ultimates coming online here for Abyssal, Ethan.
Yeah, you're going to be coming up on the Nanoblade combo. If Ares can establish enough uptime in this next fight, Quiet is going to be armed with the self-destruct as well. But behold, as Sigma says it best, one by one how they flicker. And one by one how it dwindles the time bank from 4 minutes to none now. 50 seconds remaining. Coming up on the last team fight territory. Therapy for Dag is going to unleash the dragons. And things will go from there.
Well, here's the Dragons. Ares just trying to build to that blade to be ready to go with the Nano Blade. The Diva Bomb finds nothing but spaces out. J-Star gets picked up by Just Rob, who's just being a nuisance in the back line. And then Solar Pancakes being a nuisance in the front line. Here comes the Nano, here comes the Blade. Is he gonna find anyone? Finds one, dashes in, finds another, dashes back, finds a triple kill! And Ares coming out on top, looking for one more as it's a team kill for Solar Pancakes, taking them out. 10 seconds to go. Just Rob, ready to dash in. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, here gonna be dashing in, and that is gonna be overtime. J-Star finds 80, here's the High Noon to kind of zone everyone off, and Abyssal looking like they're gonna find the picks, and they do, but they don't finish with any time in the time bank.
The end of times, end of round, heralded by the call of the weeb speech from Genji as he procures the Dragon Blade. Ares helping in a big way to score that 3rd-point capture, albeit with no time remaining, which means if Pixel Peeps are able to make a successful 3rd-point push with more than a minute in the bank remaining, then this will no longer be a losable game. Now, Guthix 2 CP is... Oh, man. 2 CP isn't in Overwatch anymore, but
nope.
we still have hybrid we can draw.
Look, I don't think anyone truly enjoyed 2CP, Ethan.
How
you
dare
might be
you?
alone.
How dare you, Guthix? I liked it well enough.
You might be alone on that topic. So, now, I will admit, Hanamura was a beautiful map. Beautiful map. They will be missed. It definitely was one of the best looking maps in the game. However, the game mode itself They tried to fix it. It didn't fix it. It just wasn't the best. But at least we're left with hybrid.
True. At least we have Blizzard World, made perhaps less beautiful by this dreary weather. I'm actually a fan of it. I like the rain, the clouds, the storms, the lightning, and the feeling of an impending storm. Perhaps we can anticipate a storm here from Pixel Peeps as they rush the objective on this dive composition.
We'll have to see if they're still sticking with it. It does look like BB Doll is not on the Lucio anymore, so mere support. And that's about it. Tanks different, DPS different as well. Quiet, trying to take a little bit of space from Solar Pancake, but so much health on the tanks now is just not gonna be doing much. Gonna be Ares up on front line, but can't reflect the Tesla gun coming from a Winston. Able to take them out though, but not before Pixel Folly. So lots of PoE support has to be coming from BB Doll. Quiet, dangerously low, gonna get mech destroyed. Now just stay on the point, just Rob looking for the baby diva. Quiet just trying to find another mech. J-Star finds a pick. Quiet, very close. J-Star coming in.
Oh, there ain't no way.
The rescue, finding a triple kill of his own. And J-Star being the star of that team fight. Help Be Quiet get that fresh mech and win that team fight.
Holy smokes! The way that J-Star is able to come back in after Quiet gets the stall, it buys enough time for Ares to rejoin the fray of battle. That's fantastic. And a little quick correction from me to you, Guthix. You know, you said earlier you can't deflect the lightning from the Tesla cannon. I think you can. You just need a lightsaber and a high midichlorian count to do so. But already two very essential cooldowns expended. The purple, the anti-nade from Pixel, from Mamoris Abyssal, and the Suzu from 80 of Pixel, meaning that Solar can go on the aggressive.
Oh, just Rob able to get on the flank. Here comes a post pop. A beautiful time. Oh, beautiful time immortality coming from BB Doll. Here's a Kitsune rush. Bob doing something right on the point, getting melted away, not be able to make any impact with that Kitsune rush. Nano coming out onto Ares, doesn't have the blade just yet, and doesn't look like gets it until now. Gonna be a dry blade, finds one and finds two. And it's gonna be 80 and Solar Pancake on the point alone. No more supports to play, but Solar Pancake slowly jumping out, dropped the bubble, and not a single tick given up.
You remember the old days, Guthix, of 2CP and Hybrid, where any percentage of capture progress you got, you just got. You didn't have to score that first tick. Absolutely dreadful times for Overwatch, and much better times now, but definitely looking a little bit harrowing here for Pixel. They wish times were better for them, but they have the Nano Boost and the Kitsune Rush to make things easier.
Right. Here's a big Nano, but a nice anti-nade, kind of keep everyone healthy and alive. As Pixel retreats, J-Star has a high noon. Gonna be popped there right now as the Kitsune rush right dead center in front of him. Doesn't find anything. Instead, Quiet falls. Solar Pancake gets that key kill on the tank. And another one falls. Unless if J-Star gone, unless the supports can do something. Doesn't look like it. Gonna be cleaning up. And with 30 seconds left in the time bank, some extra time and some extra breathing room for Pixel Peeps here.
That's exactly right. And so, you know, it's not as much time as Mamoris Abyssal were able to attain on their attacking phase. So, you know, you're definitely taking a little bit of a sigh at the moment if you're Pixel Peeps or a Pixel Peeps fan, but you also know that there's some serious work about to need to get done here. An arduous push along the high ground section and the harrowing streets of Blizzard World here with no ultimates in the bank besides the Deadeye and the Primal, which they don't have quite yet. A fight loss here, or a pick here, rather, onto Pixel Peeps will lead to a reset in their comp.
Yeah, absolutely. Pixel does have the Nano Blade. Ares get close to the blade on the opposite side. Call on us. Just, you know, the Nano Boost is going on the Genji, right? We all know. We all know.
I mean, it has to, right?
Yeah. Pixel gets that pick though on the support of 80 though. That's a big elimination. Full support ultimates. Here comes the high noon. Quiet, staring death in its face and drops the self-destruct Diva Bomb and therapy for Cat can't escape. just a dead-eye stare of "come at me, bro,"
Oh my
and
goodness.
well, we saw the results from that.
Okay, I have a little balance tweak idea for Cole Cassidy. Make the roll stamina based as opposed to a cooldown base, and then that way J-Star has 2 rolls to get away. Guthix, you ever roll once and you get tired out for 6 seconds? I don't think so, but no Cassidy here to be seen anymore from Pixel Peeps. It's going to be Therapy for Dad back on the Ashe, and now there are ultimates on both sides that we can see deployed here. Probably the Nano Blade from Ares and Pixel.
Well, here comes the Nano Monkey, and here comes the Nano Blaze looking for his supports in the back line. Miss a sleep dash 1, dash 2, dash 3, dash looking for the 4th, but just Rob can escape enough. And on the opposite side, the Nano Monkey is not as much damage as a Nano Genji with a blade.
Yeah, schmelted and schmooved on as me and my friends in our ranked solo queue ranked. Well, I guess it's not solo queue if we're playing together, but might as well be the way that we play. Might say Solar Pancake was able to use the Nano to good effect. It got the Primal Rage ready for this next fight. Just Rob. As long as there's a coordination between the dive and the pulse bomb, then you're looking at a free pick here, which is a great opening for the fight for Pixel Peeps. But they keep sustaining some pretty meaningful damage in the choke. They're getting anti-nated, slowed down, stymied here as they jump on and off of the high ground. And really, what they need is a coordinated push and a good pick.
Oh, here's a good pick coming out from Abyssal instead as the second one comes out. Kitsune Rush in response of the Primal Rage. And the Primal Rage doesn't get any value as the time ticks down. It's just Rob on the point. Just them. And time tick, tick goes the overtime. And that will do it. Blizzard World goes to Mamoris Abyssal, and we are on match point.
Yeah, it's something that I actually thought about saying as we loaded into Blizzard World, but I decided to talk about something useless instead. I don't even remember. And it was something I was going to mention earlier, is just that this is a very important map. Hold on, I'm currently being enamored by the Nano Blade. Oh, very nice. Very clean.
Very nice.
Very clean.
Very nice.
So something I was going to mention was just, this is an important map in the series. So for Mamoris Abyssal to be able to set the pace of the momentum, not just of Blizzard World and of Busan, the win that they got before that, the fact that they're able to set momentum for the series is incredibly meaningful. Pixel Peeps have been pushed into the corner, and this is where we should see them come most alive. It's when we are in the dire straits that we become the most coordinated, the most vocal, the most proactive. But for Mamoris Abyssal, they're not getting complacent either. Both these teams are learning as much as they can in these early maps so that coming to a head here in this potential final map, we get something, we get possibly the best map of this entire series. I gotta mention as well that I think it was 12 or 14 new subs on the channel. Guys, thank you so much, or on the stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, watching with us. Hope you. Yeah, we've got 128 teams as well, so there's so much participation, Guthix, not only from the viewers, the chat, but also from the teams, the players. It takes a lot of energy to bring all of this together. It takes a lot of people. So to have such a fantastic start here to UGC Season 20 of Overwatch 2, that is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. With those numbers being, all different levels, whether it's professional or semi-pro or universities all over, just competing in UGC League. That's what's the best part. You really get to test your skill at it's a different level, Ethan. You really get to test your skill against a big pool of different kinds of teams. You might have some more private organizations that practice 5 days a week for long hours to try to win these things, and then maybe you have some universities coming in, like University of Michigan, UCLA, just to name a few, that those players are still students, so maybe they can't practice as much. And there is that difference, but we get to see some excellent action and some excellent matches all across the board: Premier, Intermediate, Beginner, and Rookie.
Oh yeah, you really can't count anyone out in UGC. And the fact is, we're talking about how how crazy good all 10 of these players are, and it's because they are. The fact is that if you or I go into a solo queue ranked competitive game, right, and we queue into J-Star, right, we still won't see the same caliber of gameplay in that lobby as we're getting to see here. The
Right.
reason that you play on a team is to enhance your strengths, to demonstrate them in a way that you can establish synergy, coordination, a rapport with your teammates to an extent that it enhances your gameplay. There's not really a there's not really that same level of competitive integrity in ranked. A fix that hopefully will come sooner rather than later from Team 4, who has stayed mostly faithful to the promises that they made leading into Overwatch 2's launch and release. But in the meantime, really the best environment to hit the grind and really focus on these opportunities for improvement. It is in a league like this one. It is here in UGC. It is in other competitive tournaments. Hell, Guthix, it's in pugs. The opportunity to just hang out with a couple of people, form a team. A one-off event, and maybe an opportunity to work on gameplay, but also maybe an opportunity to work on synergy. Work on comms, and that's also what these teams are doing in these practice sessions, in these long hours, or maybe in these sparse scrims for these college students who are actually coming up on final exams here soon. Good luck, everyone. Make sure to take care of yourselves, get plenty of rest and studying, as well as treat yourself afterwards. So that's something they're doing, is these teams are working on their synergy, their comms, as well as their gameplay. And when you're looking at things like team operations, there's so much to do, so much that you can only do in as limited time as you have, even if you are playing those long hours 5 days a week, right? So I'm very pleased with the way that both of these teams are performing. I can see the hard work paying off here. But at the end of the day, Guthix, there can only be one team who wins this matchup. And one thing that we haven't gotten to mention yet is that Mamoris Abyssal is favored to win it. I think it's out of 14 votes. It's a 9-5, not the job, but rather the vote count between Mamoris Abyssal and Pixel Peeps fans.
Yep, coming in as the fan favorite, at least from the voice side of it. Any voting like that for predictions or votes can be done on the UGCleague.com website. Go check it out. You can also see any upcoming matches and check out the other teams that are happening, that are across our 4 divisions: Premier, Intermediate, Beginner, and Rookie, to catch some other actions and some other teams if they are live streaming it on their own Twitch or YouTube live channel. But if you want to catch the live action here, go ahead and give a subscribe for our YouTube channel. Keep up to updated on all different live stream matches here on the UGC channel. Well, Esperanza is the map here. It could be all done, Ethan, if Abyssal walks away with this one.
It could be, but here's the thing, Guthix. I don't really want it to be done, because honestly, you guys are gonna have to bear with me while I get sappy here. Honestly, Guthix, you and I got to reunite earlier this month at the Drexel Dragon Ball event. Absolute blast casting that. But I just got reunited with our incredible producer Anthony, and got to spend a little bit more time with you. Got to appraise myself a little bit more on some of the incredible teams who are competing in all of the divisions. But of course, in this instance, this evening, it's these two. I don't want it to end here, Guthix, and honestly, neither do Pixel Peeps. You've got them running out on this Ramatra Rush composition, which I think is a very suitable response to this Banana Rush comp. There's no Ana on the side of Abyssal this time, but you do still have Ares on the Genji, a threat to dispatch, which Just Rob might be well equipped to do.
Oh, Ramatra as well for Solar Pancake. That's going to be interesting. First time see Ramatra here tonight in tonight's match. We'll have to see how they kind of match up against Wyatt, and already punching 1-2, knockout, finds the double. Already making space. Ares takes out 2 in the backline, though, having a little bit of trouble with the Genji. They do have control of the cart, but not too long. They're going to... Ares being a nuisance. Alright, 50% up to that blade. J-Star taking out the tank. No one there to stop Solar Pancake. Finally, Ares gone, and the robot is in control of Pixel Peeps.
That's really nice pummel uptime from Solar Pancake, leading the lobby with a 66% ultimate charge, and so that's a really nice start to this round, but there's still plenty of time for Mamoris Abyssal to bounce back. They just have to navigate these next couple of fights. Push is very momentum based, and the outcome of the match is actually usually determined in the first 3 to 5 minutes of the game, so you really want to be playing as clean as you can here.
Yeah, you gotta be playing clean. You don't want to be giving up too much progress. And it's just gonna be flipping right back over. J-Star gets a key elimination here onto Therapy for Dab. A Quiet gone. And here comes the ultimate from Solar Pancake along with the beat. It's just going to be rolling and rolling. Doesn't get too much value, but the speed boost helps them clear the gap, clear the distance, and keep this robot in control.
Yeah, and, you know, at least some of the folks from Abyssal get to stay alive here, and for Pixel Peeps, at least they get a little bit of progress. They're coming up on 2 other ultimates as well. You had the beat drop from Hiccup and the Annihilation expended, but Just Rob is going to have the Blizzard for this contest here, where Pixel Peeps is hoping to get the butt scratch.
Have to, but here's the implication matrix. Here comes the Blade. Nano comes a little bit late along the Blizzard, just solo Blizzard Ares. And there's not many ultimates, Ethan, that can stop a Nano play, but I will say Blizzard is definitely one of them.
I suppose if, you know, we hadn't considered that earlier in the evening, we ought to now. Just Rob, you know, I don't mean to say I told you so, but I did tell you so that Just Rob was well equipped to deal with the Ares on the Genji. And now we're going to see, is this the mirror matchup? With the exception of Hanzo, which, again, who cares about the DPS characters? You're looking at pretty much the mirror matchup between these comps, and this is, I think, where things start to get really exciting.
Yeah, it looks like it's a mantra from Solar Pancake getting too much value, that Quiet, and the team decided, all right, let's switch. But, oh man, the combination of the Ravenous Vortex there, along with the Pummel follow-up and the Dragons to start it off. Beautiful combination.
Holy smokes. I mean, I said that Pixel Peeps were going to come alive this series. I didn't think that they were going to be this alive here. There's been very few fight losses here from them. It has netted some really good objective progress here.
Good progress is going to be forcing out the beat to keep Quiet alive. Now Annihilation used, but immediately taken out. Focus down, not getting a lot of value. And a big difference with Ramattra Annihilation in like those quick plays and those quick play lobbies, Ethan, you see a lot of value from Annihilation. But when you play as a team, everyone focuses Ramattra down, it's not the same.
Well, I mean to brag, but you know, normally even you know, when I'm playing the Ramattra in the team environment, still getting a ton of value. But you're absolutely right. Solar Pancake and Quiet are gonna have so much pressure on them during those key moments. That is when they're out of Nemesis form, like just out of Nemesis form, when they are hulking in the backlines as Nemesis, or when they are going for that Annihilate, which Quiet has.
Well, here's the Annihilation coming out, and again, focus down immediately. Wow. And right back at it, Pixel Peeps just taking the robot again. And Pixel Peep, they want to push this to a map 5.
Yeah, they absolutely do. They are not ready to lose the series here. There's still 5 minutes in this mode, too. That's the crazy thing, is that Mamoris Abyssal could very well come back from this, but we're going to have to see an ultimate exchange take place here first. You got a lot from the side of Pixel Peeps.
You do have the Blizzards on both sides. Gonna be opening up for Dragons, just kind of splitting the team out. Here comes the Blizzard right down on the point. The beat does come out, keeping some people healthy, but not enough to keep Solar Pancake or Therapy for Dad alive. Pixel does use the amplification matrix out with 2 picks up there. That's the ultimate you might want to have back there.
Yeah, especially considering that, you know, the beat had been expended, the Dragons were gone. You know, you were looking at you really were looking at a fight win for most of the stages there, if you were on the side of Mamoris Abyssal. So something you absolutely want back, but also, you know, the amplification matrix is always charged ridiculously fast, and so Pixel will have it quite soon.
They're going to be using the Blizzards here from Pixel Peaks along with the amplification matrix. Now the picks are rolling in, taking out BB Doll and Ares, keeping it even, but Quiet does fall. And the rest are soon to crumble as well. Just 2 here. Hiccups and Solar Pancakes bring the robot. Not much progress made for either side. It's been a bit of a standstill.
Yeah, well, you know, aside from the fact that there is a lot of distance that the objective, the barricade for Abyssal still needs to travel. 330 remaining, another annihilation in the bank for Solar Pancake, quite coming up on their ultimate here relatively soon, and it seems as if Pixel Peeps wanted to back up and kind of take this this next fight from the top ropes.
Yeah, I mean, you only have 2. It looks like you're playing the bridge up the top. I mean, playing the high ground. I mean, that you know, equivalence of a payload is just right under the bridge. The Dragon Strike's gonna be pushing them off the high ground, able to have the robot push it underneath the bridge a little bit. Quiet needs to get a little bit of support. Block it there. J-Star snipes therapy for Dad. A robot halts in his tracks, a little bit confused on where to go. Where do I go? J-Star finds a kill on Solar Pancakes, and the robot finally has made up their mind. Abyssal has control.
This is really important, because with the fight win there, and the denial of the forward spawn as well, you're looking at the possibility, if you are Abyssal, that you can capture the checkpoint, achieve the butt scratch here, as we like to call it, from Timmy, I think is what we started calling the bot. You've still got annihilations on both sides, a dragon, a blizzard. That's a really quick annihilate!
Big annihilation, immortality field keeping them alive. The blizzard on top of it might be the deciding factor as Ares picks up 2, and the additional ultimate committed was enough, finally capturing at least the checkpoint, giving them a little bit of a forward spawn.
Yeah, and so you've only got about what, 50 meters now remaining to push here from Mamoris Abyssal. They continue to play pretty clean, use the nano boost to good effect here. Then they're looking at a reasonable win condition. Still a beat to fight through. Dragon's Blizzard on standby for Pixel Peeps.
And Quiet's a little bit off though, trying to decide if they want to use the nano boost, but they're going to use the nano boost on Ares instead of the Ramatra. Not sure if they were trying to target Quiet there and they just died right before the nano boost came out and targeted Ares instead.
It was a really brilliant wall from Just Rob that just prevented Quiet from getting any kind of support, including the nano boost. So the nano boost ends up going into Ares because Mamoris Abyssal wanted to stay in. They are back in now, though, punching at each other, and now we're down to less than a minute.
Here's a Blizzard on the opposite side. Gonna be free, Pixel and Quiet. What a key Blizzard there, and takes out 3, now 4. A big Blizzard coming out from Just Rob. A team kill secured and only 40 seconds to go.
The ultimate usage from Pixel Peeps. This map has been so good. It's just absolutely crazy. I understand the plight that Mamoris Abyssal is in. For every head you cut off, there are 2 more to take its place. Every fight, there's some kind of ult to mitigate, and that's frustrating. That wears and frays at the edges of one's mind. So what they need to do is just, you know, get together, clear their minds, and figure out how they want to use this upcoming Blizzard and the upcoming beat.
They're able to hold the high ground here, a little bit more aggressive. As Solar Pancake trying to get this annihilation online as time has ticked on, and we're in overtime. And Abyssal has to stay on the card. J-Star falling, it's not going to be a good start, but Ares Blizzard going to be freezing Solar Pancake here. Immortality field used. No more ults online until Quiet now has the annihilation. Doesn't use it yet. Trying to hold on to Dragons on the robot. Take out Quiet and therapy for Dad. Takes him to a therapy session. And that session's map 5 for Pixel Peeps.
You know, normally it's after map 1 that we're like, ladies and gentlemen, we have a series, but, you know, it's actually at the conclusion of the series that we'll be able to say, man, what a series. We still got one more map to navigate. I'm hoping to see more of these mirrors. This has been wildly entertaining, getting to watch these teams come at each other with the compositions that you know, their opponent is comfortable on. But heading into our potential, actually no, our final map, Lijiang Tower, we might be able to get to see a little bit of mirror. We might get to see a little bit of that departure from the meta. We'll see on the other side of a very short break. We'll be right back. Just catch our breath and go get yourself a snack. See you soon.
Welcome back, everyone, from that very short break, and we are all set and ready to get into our final map here, Ethan. Lijiang Tower, another classic for Overwatch 1, and honestly, still a classic for Overwatch 2.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, in my opinion, you know, as valid or invalid as you want to accept it, is that it's a little bit more navigable here in the 5v5 format as well. We'll be starting here on Control Center, and so this is one of those maps that I anticipate to see the mirror matchup, perhaps a reorientation around the Rush Brawl composition. Maybe we get some spam in there as well, some Junkrats, some Symmetra, and we do absolutely get both of those heroes from Mamoris Abyssal. Meanwhile, for Pixel Peeps, they are sitting comfy on this rush-based composition. The main difference being that instead of a Cassie or long-range hit scan or the Hanzo, you do have Therapy for Dad on the Symmetra. Quite possibly just get the team out of spawn really quickly. You know, TP and then amp speed, TP, and then swap back onto the Cass, or you know, maybe mirror the Junk. I'm gonna be interested to see what they end up opting for, but I like the Sim here on Control Center. I like playing Sim a lot myself.
Sim's just a comic pick here on Control Center, definitely on Lijiang Tower. The Mei, though, is going to give them a bit of a wall and enough pressure on Quiet. Huge pick out on Quiet from Pixel P. I mean, that's the big difference. I was just going to say here, Ethan, that the Mei wall is going to be able to land a nice one and gonna be able to wall quiet off. But the thing is, you kill them so fast that the point barely unlocked. They do get the capture though, and Ares on Junkrat try and find some pressure here on the front big shield of Solar Pancake. Nothing yet so far, but percent climbing for Pixel Peak. Here's another wall coming out to Quiet. Immortality Field use a big shatter. Two down onto the ground, and the push comes in. The rush comes in, Ethan, and Pixel Peeps holding on.
I think that's a team kill as well. Did it come in all in time? Oh yeah, Hiccup able to just barely make the timer there with the boop on a Pixel. I really appreciate that. You know, it's a little bit sad that Pixel goes down there because they wanted to live, they wanted to get out. But I appreciate that 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 Pixel Peeps were proactive about making sure that pick is secured.
Teleport comes out, some turrets in the back line. Amplification Matrix used in front of the big shield just to get them a little bit more space. 80 has the Amplification Matrix on their end. Quiet, dangerously low. Ares getting close to a Riptire. Here's going to be a giant shield from J-Star, splitting the point directly in half. Shatter used, hit Solar Pancake, wall up, protect. But not enough to protect anyone else from the wrath of Ares. Beat you to give them some extra health, but what's going on the side of Abyssal? A beat come out, not sure what happened there, but they do have the point though, Ethan. They're taking up.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you mentioned, Guthix, you know, just a little bit of padding, making sure that they secure the objective, and, you know, that the stall isn't able to be drawn out long enough from Pixel Peeps. Needless to say, it's an ultimate that you definitely want for this next fight, because there's a Blizzard in effect.
Well, here's a Blizzard able to get out, speed out. Here's a Riptire, waiting, going around the side, looking for someone. Immortality Field, yes!
Nice.
Outside the field at the back of the point. Throws right over the center. Shatter comes out, hits down two, and the fight from Pixel Peeps splits right back. The main tank there, both supports gone. It's Solar Pancake, he's a little bit alone, and Ares on top, able to flip this over, but 99% secure from Pixel Peeps. They were able to get the point, and now Abyssal has to go the distance.
No surprise to see Ares and the rest of Mamoris Abyssal clutch up there in the final moments before that capture progress reaches 100%. Hiccup still armed with the sound barrier coming up in the last team fight territory, and J-Star will be able to sever this fight once again with the photon barrier once they have it.
Photon barrier almost online, but Solar Pancake takes out Pixel, looking for another kill. Quiet falls. There's the barrier. Ares finds two, keeping their hopes alive for this first map. Solar Pancake's locked, shield depleting, trying to find some more picks. It's J-Star running around with their beam. Now tucking the point is BB Doll, and Ares keeping their hopes alive and able to find the kill. BB Doll falls to Solar Pancakes, but staying alive. Staying alive. Ares staying his way to another Riptire.
Holy smokes, yeah, you're right, Ares does have another Riptire. That's a furry win condition, which is so meaningful here on Control Center, because you're reaching last teamfight territory. Once that timer hits 85%, and you're looking at the ultimates on standby here from Mamoris Abyssal, and the one photon barrier, things are looking a little bit harrowing. The bait on the TP, 80 goes down, a huge slam as well!
It hits all four, would hit all five without the early elimination, and they clean it up. A celebratory Riptire and Amplification Matrix. I gotta say, that's play of the game, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, it was definitely the play to be made there to win the game there for Mamoris Abyssal, or rather win that first round. Way to come back from that one from them, and if you're Pixel Peeps, it definitely makes you a little bit nervous, because that was a round that, you know, you really had secured. And as well, you know, there was a little bit of a fumble with the sound barrier previously from Mamoris, who were able to compensate and adjust really spectacularly there. So Again, both of these teams playing as well as they are. It's disappointing that one of them has to lose, but we are now, we've been in match point. We're in match round now. Mamoris, Abyssal are falling back on this Monkey Rush composition. No Nano, but you've got Ares on the Genji, and then you've got this Ramatra Rush here on the side of Pixel Peeps. They're already on the point as well with the Symmetra. They're looking pretty happy to sit here for as long as they can.
And the fight is being taken out right here. The Ramatra coming out from Pixel. See if they can get it done. I wonder if Quiet will switch over or stick with Winston. But Ares getting it done on the Genji again, along with Quiet, making a lot of space and paving the way with the Winston pick. Yeah, everyone low and getting control of this point.
That's a really good fight to win. First fight, and you're forcing adjustments from your opponent as well. A switch in composition onto now a dive comp. Hiccup on the Ana and an 80 back on the Kiriko, which in the past and previous maps has been a little bit of a liability. And so both sides are going to be looking to exploit the enemy support lineup. Still no ultimates that are going to be able to be played here. So you're looking at probably a long neutral fight.
A very long neutral fight indeed, but Solar Pancake switching back over to the Winston, trying to mirror that tank lineup. Pixel getting close to ultimate, but immediately melted away is Quiet. Just Rob goes off the map, blinking away.